Hey, are you looking to learn what it takes to rank at the top of Google every week? Follow along in this series as I show you what's working specifically in Google this week in SEO to get you top rankings for yours or a client's website. Hey, and thanks for joining me on this edition of the podcast. I'm your host, Jason Brown, the co-founder of SERPWoo and the inventor of SERP tracking. And in today's episode, I'm going to do something a little different, two things different actually. But before I get into that, please take the time to like, subscribe, and comment on this video so that I know that you like this type of content. That will let us know here at SERPWoo to keep pushing forward with these videos and ultimately what to change, what to make better, or what to keep going on and doubling down on. So go ahead, take a second, please hit that like, subscribe, or leave a comment right now in this video. So let's go ahead and jump to the results here. Let me switch screens. Now, normally at this section of the video, I jump into our volatility tool at SERPWoo so that you can see for the past 7 days, sometimes I show 14 days, how the volatility has moved up and down. I'm going to do something a little bit different, keep this video short in this episode, skip that. But if you want to see how volatility works, go watch one of our other prior videos before this one about what's working in SEO. And you can see how we look at volatility to determine algorithm changes, maybe HTML updates, manual penalties, and so forth. But I'm going to skip that this week, keep it a little short, and jump right into the results. Also, what I'm going to do differently is instead of spreading out these results and keeping them within the same rows so that you can see longevity of the most important on-page SEO factors, which is what I've basically done throughout this series. As you can see here, if you look at row 3, keywords in H2, you can see I've always kept H2 in the same row here. That's largely because I wanted you to see longevity. Part of the reason why I started this series in April was to look at what SEO factors seem to have longevity factor as far as importance. I'm looking at the top 20 SEO factors each week, basically pulling out the top 20 out of thousands of SEO factors that we look at. And of course, that's going to be for millions of keywords, hundreds of millions of URLs, millions of domains. That's also going to be billions of data points that we're looking through, which comes down to thousands of SEO factors. And then I'm looking at the top 20, which is how I do this series. But I wanted you to see each week the progression. So if we go back to like April 29th here, we can see keywords in H2 row 3 has been there every week. And pretty much keywords and sentences has been there every week. So I'll go forward here. And then below that, basically at row 11 and down, we see some other ones that have changed each week. And what I'm going to do different this week, though, is I'm actually going to list them in order of importance. So instead of longevity, which I think if you take a look at prior videos and follow along, you're going to see keywords in H2, keywords in sentences, page size, keywords in titles, sometimes keywords in H1. They have a lot of longevity. These are very important SEO factors. But this week, I'm going to do it based on importance, not longevity. So let me go ahead and reveal here the top SEO factor this week. It's page size. Page size is the most important this week. It's not the most important every week in weeks prior, but it was the most correlated factor this week. Now, that doesn't mean that if there's an element that I don't show in today's video that it's not important. It just didn't hit the top 20. It could have been 22nd, it could have been 31st this week. Last week, it could have been 19th, though. So if we look at, say, maybe right here, keywords and meta description, that was top 20 June 22nd. It wasn't top 20 July 7th. It might have been 23rd. It's still an important factor. It just wasn't in the top 20. Okay. So let's look at factor number 2 here. Keywords in sentences was the second most correlated important factor this week. Then we've got keywords in titles. A lot of the times in prior videos, I've told you keywords in titles and also maybe the extra words used in a title like best or review or the year 2022. Those are important too. But for this one, keywords in title, we're actually talking about the keyword that you're looking to optimize for, your actual phrase or exact match keyword that you want to rank for, not the extra words like best and review or compared or versus being in the title, but the actual word itself. That was the third most important factor this week. Keywords in H2 was the fourth most important. It's also the one that has the longest longevity in this whole series, showing up every single week without fail. Keywords in H3 was the next important element. Keywords in H1, outbound links. So these would be links on your page or website linking to outside domains, not internal, but outside domains. Images with alt text. Keywords in titles. But you're saying, oh, this is a duplicate, but it's not, because it's actually the extra terms in the titles. So this is where we would get best in the title, review 2022, all those extra keywords. Now, this will be topic dependent or industry dependent or niche specific. If you're reviewing cameras, it might very well be best camera, DSLR camera for 2022. Okay, that would be wildly different than, say, if you're an electrician and you've got extra terms for your particular industry in there. So I don't actually list out what the specific terms are because it will be different. But Google is paying really good attention to extra terms that are in the titles. I've said this in prior videos. Think about things where we talk about reviews, years, the word best, the word top. Anything that looks like a comparison that's done, Google is giving a lot of favoritism to that these past couple months, actually, but that's what showed up this week. It is the last element this week. For those of you that are new to the channel, even though I look at the top 20, I don't list the top 20 because many times these factors that I just listed, they're actually in the top 20 2 or 3 times, various different ways. We're looking at keywords in H1 as a factor, but we're also looking at keywords that are H1 through H3 as a group itself. That is one group, H1 through H3. But H2 is its own and H3 is its own also. But H1 through H3 is a separate group and H1 through H6 is another group. There's going to be times in the top 20 where I see keywords in H1, singular, keywords in H2, singular, keywords in H3, singular, and then I see keywords in H1 through H3, singular, and keywords in H1 through H6, singular. So that's actually 5 elements there that we're looking at. But because these are representative and I can break them out and actually make them a little bit more granular for you, I break them out here. I just don't duplicate it with the H1 through H6 tag showing up here, because then it kind of gets unfair that I'm showing you duplicate type of stuff. The most important was the one that I broke out for you here on this video. So, that's basically the listing this week and how things break out. And I just want to take time to say, if you've learned something new today, if you like maybe this new format that's shorter where we cut out volatility, or if you enjoy these videos and you want us to keep making more, now is your chance to hit the like button, to subscribe, to comment, and hopefully you'll watch another video from us right after this. I'm not going to lie, it will definitely help the channel with YouTube, but it will also be an indicator of what content I know to keep making and maybe what content to quit making. So go ahead and do that for me. I would definitely appreciate it. And I hope to see you on the next episode. See you next week. Thanks a lot. Goodbye.